Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Monday, the 12th of October, 2015, and ending on the 16th of October. That's a Friday, 2015. Believe it or not, this is already options expiration week here in October. Started the month on the Thursday the 1st. This is about as early, almost as early as you can get options expiration. It's also the start of core earnings. It's the start of a lot of things. So let's talk about that in a bit. Let's start out by looking at the market here. So we did break out a little bit on Thursday above that 61.8% fib retracement line. That's the green line we've been monitoring. It feels like we really stalled out once we did get that breakout. I'll show you what it looked like on the intraday action late Thursday after the Fed minutes came out. And there's some other data here to look at that's kind of interesting from a technical perspective. So we'll get to that in a few minutes here. For Friday, though, a very dull session. We closed up 1 on the S&P. Let's look at that. The NDX up 19 points for the session. SOX down 5. Doesn't look very interesting. Biotech's up 18. Got the VIX down 0.34 to 1708. The trend closed at 1.28. That's the highest reading in a while, but I will point out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 days back is that big trend reading up at 2.5. So that number, okay, let's keep this in mind. That 2.5 is in the 10-day moving average right now, which is the blue line. Okay, and remember, a 10-day moving average of the trend under 0.85 is a big warning sign for the market. Usually leads to a downward move in the market, which means that on Monday, that 2.5 is going to come out of the moving average, right? We will no longer have the 2.5 in the moving average. That's a big number compared to all the rest. The moving average could really take a dip unless whatever Monday's actual number is pretty high. So, for example, I would think coming out of, let's say, Monday's number is even 1.2 again, which is the same as what we had today. You know, you're basically taking 1.3 divided by 10. It's probably going to drop the number, the moving average, about 13 cents, which would give us a 0.77 reading. That's the lowest in the one-year time frame you're looking at here, and that would give us pretty high probability of a drop in the market following that. So we're going to have, in order to not get that, you're going to need a trend reading closing on Monday up near the 2 level, maybe 2, even a little higher than 2. And we haven't been getting that the last few days. So be careful. Just be aware of that. That's a pretty strong and solid signal when it occurs. It doesn't occur that often. So we need to be very conscious of it. Nasdaq volume was only 1.6 billion, 1.6.5 billion shares on Friday, and part of that was boosted by UTIW, which is a stock that traded way more volume than it normally does, to the tune of 100 million shares. So really, this was a light day, much weaker than the first 4 days of the week, and you know, that's why it wasn't as great from a trading perspective for us. We didn't have as much going on, but whatever. Still had a green day. Here's the Nasdaq advanced decline ratio plus 319. That means 319 more stocks up than down. New York was plus 420. That's some of the weakest advanced decline of the week, but again on the light volume. No surprise. Google gained $4.24. Apple gained $2.62. Notice how this all just kind of looks like a blip on the charts for those stocks. Amazon gained $6.64 though. This thing's ready for maybe a potential breakout over that 550 and change number. We'll be looking for it on the report one day, potentially this week if it gets up closer. Netflix lost $1.60. Saw some crazy action on Netflix back the other day, and then came a little bit back today. We've got crude oil at 49.63. Obviously broke the green static trend line finally and confirmed through that. So that static trend line is finally dead on the crude oil contract. All right. So let's go to 10-minute candles for the week to take a look at what we got here. And you can see no 13 signals except for the one midday Monday in terms of the 10 minutes anyways. So the big gap up Monday morning and then drifted higher. Almost half of the day's move was the gap. Tuesday, a flat opening and a flat close. Tried both ways. Tried up first, then went down. Closed lower by a little bit. Wednesday, we gapped up. We tried to go higher. We came back. We filled the gap to the tick. And then rallied back up partway and closed slightly green. Thursday, a small gap down, filled it, really boring over before lunch, into lunch, and then after lunch we broke out on the FOMC minutes. That's what takes us through that 2000 level. 1996 was that 61.8% fib retracement, the green line on the daily chart I showed you. We broke through that on the numbers and kept going. And then Friday, a flat opening, and as I said, in the end, even though we tried up and down, a flat close, only up 1 point for the session on the ES. Now the Nasdaq side, fairly similar, but again, the gap up Monday and went up. Tuesday flat, went down and closed a little negative. The difference here, Wednesday gap up, filled the gap easily, came back near the highs. Thursday gap down, rallied late in the day. Friday a little push up midday and actually closed green for the session, unlike the ES. So overall for the week, the ranges were okay. Let's take a look again at the ES just so I can clock in at, let's see, 1955 to 2010 basically. So you're looking at 55 points of range over 5 days. It's not terribly huge for what we've been seeing on the market there. All right, so what do we have to expect for this week? Well, like I said, first of all, Monday, strangely, is a bank holiday. We have, it doesn't mean all banks are closed. Columbus Day is one of those weird holidays. Some banks are closed, some aren't, but it still tends to have a major impact on the market. So we'll be probably mostly just calling it from the tape. I may or may not run my scans for Monday to see if I can find anything. That's going to make Monday. The other thing that sucks is that ruins the scans for the next day because you're going to have a really light volume day most likely. And so we probably won't find much in the scans for Tuesday, since a lot of our scans are based on increasing volume. So that leads into the rest of the week. Now, this is options expiration week already in October, as I mentioned. And what that means is we're going to have the options unraveling move most likely Wednesday or maybe Thursday. This is a single expiration. It's not futures and commodities. It's just the options contracts. So again, somewhere in there, hopefully get an unraveling move. Usually happens Wednesday. It can happen Thursday. Friday will be expiration itself. It's going to be really dull. Monday's going to be dull because of the holiday. And on top of it, we start the core 8 days of earnings for the quarter starting on Tuesday. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There should be a lot of earnings. Friday slows down a bit. Next Monday slows down a bit. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the following week, you wrap it up with the most earnings. And those are the core 8 days of earnings. If you've not traded that with us before, just be aware that that does lead to a different environment. A lot of the bigger players play a little different in that. So even though we just had really a tremendous week here, if you look at our stock picks, and a lot of them were huge winners, we had some big winners almost every day. It was just a great week. That's something that professional traders have to take advantage of because the professionals also know that come earnings season, they're going to be playing a little bit later typically. So we'll be aware of that. We'll be looking in the lab to help you make money off of that and game plan for whatever's coming. Make sure you don't hold stocks overnight if they have earnings coming out, or even if another stock in their sector has earnings coming out. You don't want to get stuck with anything that gaps either way, really. Obviously, it gaps in your favor. That's great, but that's not always how it works. We'll be in the lab. Charts as usual, brought to you by eSignal. I think this is it. Let's just be aware of options expiration, the holiday Monday, that options expiration on Friday, the unraveling move in the middle of the week, and earnings in general. The big number, I didn't go through the data yet, sorry. Monday, Treasury budget. Sorry, Monday there's no data, that's Tuesday. Tuesday is Treasury budget. Wednesday is the MBA mortgage index, PPI, retail sales and business inventories, and then the Fed Beige Book in the afternoon. Thursday's continuing and initial jobless claims, that's the weekly number, plus the CPI, the Empire Manufacturing Index, the Philly Fed. That's a lot of data right there. And then crude and oil and natural gas inventories, because crude oil gets pushed from Wednesday to Thursday with the bank holiday on Monday. And finally, Friday, industrial production, capacity utilization, the JOLTS job openings, and Michigan sentiment and net long-term tick flows in the afternoon. We are just 2 weeks away after that from the time change here in the U.S. on Halloween weekend. We hope to see you in the lab. Have a great trading week.